guys, welcome back to my channel. Selamat datang kembali di channel Makcik. Kejap. Macam tuh. Hai semuanya, sahabat online family Makcik, apa kabar anda semua guys? Makcik harap semuanya sentiasa sehat selalu, dipermudahkan segala urusan dan murahlah rezeki kita semuanya. Amin. Negara yang memiliki umat agama Islam terbesar di dunia ini adalah negara Indonesia. Di sana sangat ramai yang memeluk agama Islam ya guys ya. Sehingga ada satu video ini Makcik temukan kisah seorang mualaf yang berasal dari Amerika. Dikarenakan Muslim Indonesia, aku bersyahadat, Masya Allah. Ini adalah seorang yang berasal dari Amerika, dikarenakan mungkin dia berteman dengan orang Indonesia yang beragama Muslim ya guys ya. Jadi dia memutuskan untuk memeluk agama Islam, Masya Allah. Video ini Makcik daripada channel Hidayah Pangestu. Seperti biasa Makcik akan letak dia punya link nanti dekat deskripsi box. Jangan lupa tekan link tuh, sama-sama kita support channel Hidayah Pangestu. Dan tonton video ini sampai habis. Nanti di ujung video Makcik akan memberikan sedikit komentar tentang video ini ya guys ya. Tanpa membuang mata lagi, kita langsung saja ke videonya. Let's go. Oke guys, mari kita lihat. Ini dia.
Asyhadu alla ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan.
Assalamualaikum Sobat Islam. Kali ini Hidayah Pangestu kembali untuk berbagi info Islami. Sebelum kalian melanjutkan video ini, jangan lupa untuk selalu menekan tombol subscribe dan hidupkan loncengnya supaya kalian tahu video terbaru dari kami.
Jangan lupa subscribe ya guys ya, kita support channel Hidayah Pangestu.
Dalam kisah mualaf kali ini datang dari seorang wanita cantik yang berasal dari Amerika. Beliau bernama Jana Ais. Dalam kisahnya beliau sejak kecil adalah penganut agama Kristen ateis, yang dimana keluarga beliau sangat taat terhadap agamanya, dan beliau sangat ingin mengetahui tentang agama Islam dan budaya yang berada di Indonesia. Pada pertama kali beliau pergi ke Indonesia, Jana sendiri sangat kagum dengan kebaikan orang Indonesia dan sopan. Jana sendiri sudah memeluk agama Islam sejak tahun 2022 dan beliau menjadi Muslim ketika berlibur di Indonesia.
Ya guys,
Masya Allah. Dan gimana kelanjutan video tersebut? Kali ini Hidayah Pangestu akan memberikan informasi kepada kalian semua. Simak baik-baik dan tonton sampai habis.
My name is Jana Ais. I am from the United States and I live in Houston, Texas. I took my Shahada 1 year ago.
Setahun
Can you
yang
share
lalu.
with us your journey on how you found Islam?
Yes. So I grew up in a Catholic family, but I was very curious about different religions and cultures. So in college, I started taking world religion courses and studied a little bit about different religions. But it wasn't really till later that I was really interested in Islam. I guess the first time I went to Indonesia in my 20s, I for the first time met a lot of Muslims, and I was amazed at how kind and polite and open-minded they all were, because the media presented Muslims so badly, especially after 9/11, and so I had just a very different impression. I was, very curious about Islam at that point, but more interested in Sufism at the time. So later, I connected with a Sufi group and here in Houston, and would practice Sikra with them. And I realized, they're all praying. I don't know much about Islam, the fundamentals of Islam, and I wanted to read the Quran to understand more of the references in our Zikr and to see what this book was like. So I began to read, and as I started to read it, I was amazed at the scientific facts that were presented, the predictions that were made. It became clear to me, especially after reading about the Prophet ﷺ, knowing he was illiterate. There's no way, he could have written this eloquent book and had all these predictions himself, that he was definitely a messenger of God. And I began to read more and listen to khutbahs by Dr. Omar Solomon about his life. And I just fell in love with his character. You know, he was such a kind, compassionate, wise prophet, and I couldn't help but fall in love with him. And not only him, but like Khadija and Omar al-Khattab and all these other great firsts in Islam. So became very interested in them at that point.
So which
Masyaallah.
moment convinced you that Islam is the truth, and how did you feel when you conveyed your Shahadat?
So I married a Jordanian man, and he introduced me to a friend of his that's a sheikh, and his wife became a good friend of mine. She was very, very kind, and she asked me, you know, why don't you come to the masjid in Ramadan a year ago, and just see what you think, and you know, pray with me and have iftar with me. So I went, and I felt so connected to everyone there. All the sisters were so kind and you know, supportive, answered any questions I had, and it was strange. I didn't really know how to pray then, but I didn't feel like strange about it. I really felt connected to everyone there. When I heard the Quran being recited, I felt something in my heart that I have never felt before. It was just like an opening, and it felt like the truth. And I knew that Ramadan Jummah evening that I wanted to take my Shahada. So the next Jummah,
ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness there is no deity but Allah, and I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
Kok jadi terharu ya tengoknya guys.
To your conversion.
Aduh, kok jadi terharu.
So I'm fortunate that I have parents that have always allowed me to study, even though they were Catholic. They've always allowed me to research and study and practice whatever I would like for my religion. Then when I did tell her, yes, I became Muslim, and she saw like I'm changing a lot. Before I had statues and paintings in my house, and after the sheikh came, I got rid of them, and I changed my life completely. And she, being Catholic, was like, wow, she saw the positive change. She didn't feel uneasy about it after that. I did lose some friends, some Buddhist scholars. Like, they were like, how could you convert to Islam? I just said, you practice your religion, I'll practice mine. And so, you know, I didn't have, I would say, a lot of difficulties. Like, if you look at the life of the Prophet ﷺ, like, he had some serious trials and suffering that went along with spreading Islam. But these little things like losing some friends, and, you know, was not a big deal for me. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the things you impressed most in
Terharu
Islam?
gitu ya dengan ceritanya guys.
What I'm impressed about most in Islam is I see, like, when I look at Sharia, like, I can see why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid out certain laws. The more I practice, the more I understand it. It's really, you know, it's very protective of women, and it's to keep us from falling into sin. And also, I love the sunnah, like the Prophet ﷺ, his life is so beautiful. The way he had such patience with people, even if they were harming him. He was so kind and loving, never got angry, you know. We could learn so much from him, you know. So that's what I think is so impressive. And I see that in people and the Ummah. They are always, you know, trying to follow his footsteps and be kind and open and generous. And I mean, it's a perfect path. And so that's why I chose to become Muslim.
So how do you find
Masyaallah.
practicing Islam, such as prayer and fasting during Ramadan? Is it challenging?
I found at first, maybe the first 2 days, the no water. I fasted before, but no water was a little tough, maybe the first 2 days. But after that, I realized it got so easy. And the prayers actually, it was so beautiful because you're constantly putting your desires aside. This ego that wants to eat and drink, and watch TV, or do something that's distracting from what we're really here to do, which is to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All those distractions sort of fell away, and I was able to focus only on prayer and the communion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala became really strong. And I felt a lot of change in my temperament and my desires, like for worldly things. It was so beautiful for me.
It's so beautiful
So
for
how about
me.
Eid celebrations?
Masyaallah.
What are your favorite things and what you feel is different compared to your previous religion?
Well, Eid was beautiful because you're celebrating. I mean, you just fasted. Now you're celebrating, you're feasting, you're rejoicing, you and the Ummah, with the things that you gave up for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a time for celebration. It was beautiful. I think my favorite things were just, being with other Muslims in the Ummah and enjoying, I guess, some rest and celebration after giving up a lot of things for the month of Ramadan. But I didn't really look at it like, for me, it was like, all I could think about was, I just want to continue this. I don't want to lose my passion for prayer and all the things that I put aside, like I'm still like, I want to keep fasting once or twice a week, I want to always engage in prayer the way I did in Ramadan. So how is that different? In Catholicism, our fasting is not like this. It wasn't like a whole month of no water and no food. It was just like no meat, just fish. Fridays like for Lent or something. It was nothing serious. And Buddhism also, they fast. That means they don't eat anything after 12 o'clock, and they eat the following morning. So it's not with the intensity that Muslims fast. I think they're willing to sacrifice a lot more for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because He has made that obligatory for us as Muslims. And I embrace that sacrifice and look at it as you gain so much more. It may seem like a sacrifice, but it really, as Muslims, you gain so much more from doing that.
What are your messages for all brothers and sisters that seek Islam, as well as the early step of the conversion?
Well, I think, definitely read the Quran, read the Hadiths, listen to these fabulous khutbahs by, revered sheikhs on the life of the Prophet ﷺ. But also, try to connect. I was very fortunate to attend the New Muslim Circle classes, so I could actually have a strong foundation in Islam. I think it's really important to have that kind of support as a new Muslim, because there's so much to learn. It's almost overwhelming at first, to make sure you're doing your wudu properly, you're praying properly, you understand what's allowed and what is not allowed, There is a lot to learn. So I would suggest to try to, take some classes and do your own research with the Quran. But it's, you need a lot. I think you need support in the beginning, definitely. And then it's also your own efforts, making sure that after you know what you need to do as a Muslim, that you put forth the efforts.
So, well, that is it. Would you like to say anything for your final comments?
Well, I want to just say that I'm really grateful again for having the support that I needed from the New Muslim Circle. classes, and also from all my brothers and sisters in Islam for supporting me and answering all the questions I've had as a new Muslim, and for being here to walk this beautiful, perfect path with me. And I just pray that all new Muslims are able to receive the support they needed like I did. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah. Masya Allah. Luar biasa guys ceritanya, kisahnya ya. Masya Allah. Masya Allah, sangat luar biasa kisah seorang kakak Jana Ais ini, seorang mualaf yang berasal dari Amerika Serikat ya guys ya, dimana dia ini sebenarnya dari lahir itu sudah beragama Katolik, tetapi dia sangat suka belajar agama sehingga dia memutuskan untuk kuliah mengambil mata pelajaran yang berkaitan dengan agama. Pada umur dia yang ke-20-an dia pergi ke Indonesia, dan di sanalah dia melihat untuk pertama kalinya bagaimanakah agama Islam itu. Dia melihat di Indonesia bahwa agama Islam itu, orang-orang yang beragama Islam itu adalah orang yang sangat ramah-ramah, terbuka, sopan gitu ya guys ya. Jadi kan mengubah mindsetnya dia sebelum ini tentang agama Islam menjadi mencari tahu lagi tentang agama Islam bagaimana sih, kata gitu ya guys ya. Jadi dia mengubah mindsetnya. Sebelum ini dikatakan kalau bahwa media-media di sana itu memberitahukan bahwa agama Islam itu bertolak balik dengan apa yang dia lihat ya guys ya. Dan setelah dia pergi di Indonesia, dia lihat bagaimana agama Islam di Indonesia itu mengubah mindsetnya. Oh ternyata yang diberitakan media itu tidak sama dengan apa yang dia lihat itu ya guys ya. Ternyata yang dia lihat itu sangat bertolak belakang dengan apa yang media sampaikan. Ternyata Islam itu begini ya, gitu mindsetnya ya guys ya. Dia melihat bagaimana keramahan, kesopanan dan juga keterbukaan masyarakat Islam di Indonesia, sehingga membuat ketertarikan pada hatinya dia untuk belajar lebih lagi tentang agama Islam. Dia mencari tahu tentang agama Islam itu bagaimana, dan juga dia belajar berzikir, belajar dasar-dasar agama Islam semuanya ya guys ya. Dan akhirnya pun dia memutuskan untuk menjadi agama Islam. Masya Allah, sangat luar biasa. Agama Islam adalah agama yang paling indah di dunia ini. Syukur alhamdulillah kakak ini mendapatkan hidayah sehingga dia memutuskan untuk memeluk agama Islam sebagai agama kepercayaannya sampailah sekarang ini. Masya Allah, syukur alhamdulillah ya guys ya. Terima kasih untuk Anda semuanya karena sudah menonton dari awal sampai habis. Sangat bagus ya kita melihat kisah seorang kakak ini ya guys ya, bagaimana dia menceritakan kisahnya sampai dia memutuskan dari awal sampai hingga akhir dia memutuskan untuk memeluk agama Islam. Masya Allah, sungguh sangat luar biasa ya guys ya. Terima kasih juga untuk Anda semuanya karena selalu sedia mensupport dan mendukung channel Makcik sampai sekarang ini. Tanpa dukungan Anda semuanya, Makcik tidak akan sampai ke tahap yang sekarang. Makcik ucapkan terima kasih banyak-banyak, dan terima kasih juga karena selalu menonton video Makcik. Oke guys, kita akhirlah video kita ya guys ya. Sampai di sini saja video kita untuk hari ini, dan jumpa lagi di next video. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.